So hi guys, welcome to this new video. Basically in this video I'll be showing you how to have a direct deployment from your VS Code on your local environment directly to your cPanel, right? So basically you just set the direct deployment mechanism on your Github where you just push your code to Github for instance, and it is deploying directly to cPanel. So if you have your live site, you can just make changes on your local, push to Github, and it is available on your live site. So I've been doing this with the Laravel project. Basically it's broken into a few steps. First of which is create a workflow account in the local environment, create your Github repository, create an FTP account linked to your domain on cPanel, link that FTP account to your Github repository, push and deploy your codes to Github, and that is it. The rest of the steps, which includes creating an env file, linking your database, are just steps that are required for your project to run correctly on the live environment. The prerequisites for this is having your GitHub account, have your cPanel hosting, then have your local environment, your local code base running well. For this project, like I said, I'll be using Laravel to be deploying directly to my live site. So let's jump into it.
All right, so welcome. We're back to it. So the first step on the sheet is create a GitHub workflow in your Laravel code base. So this is my Laravel code base, right? So I will create a folder that I would call .github, right? Then inside this folder, I will create another folder, which is like a subfolder that I will call workflows. Then in here, I will create a file. On this side, this workflows folder, I'll create a file that I will call tutor, a YML file I will call tutor.yml. Straightforward. Then the content of this tutor.yml is what I'll just get from the web. You can easily browse it, or I'll drop a link to it on the comment section. So basically, I'll just go to a project I have before, just a copy and paste something. Copy this, and of course, come here and paste it. So basically, what this says is push to the main branch, pull from the main branch. Then it's using PHP version does, right? Then the actions it's going to run for you is copy env, replace env. I actually like to comment out this action because I don't want my env file replacing every time when I've deleted it with my production variables. So I will just remove it, right? I will create my env file later. I will do my env file later. Then okay, so then installs dependencies, updates composer, generates key, then sync the files using variables that will update from step 4, basically, which says updates and FTP variables. So basically, I will just uncomment this for now so that everything is still fresh. Then I would save the file. So step 1 is done. And step 2 says create your GitHub repository. This is quite a straightforward step. Go to your GitHub, to the repositories tab, click on the new, then of course click on the new. So I would name my repository tutor, and it's going to be tutor. I'm going to be a private repository. Description is optional, so I'm not adding my readme. I'm adding all the contents of my current Laravel project, right? Yeah, so I'll create a repository. And that's done for step 2. Step 3 says create an FTP account linked to your domain on cPanel. So I have my cPanel up here. This is terminal. I'm not using terminal right now. So I'll just go to my cPanel. Trying to create an FTP account. I already have an account, but I will just delete the account I have and create a new one for this particular project. All right, so under your cPanel, basically, if you scroll down a bit, you see FTP accounts. Alternatively, you can just search here and you still see FTP accounts, right? So FTP accounts, then basically I have one I created, so I want to just delete that one. So let's just delete this. I want to delete the folder because the folder doesn't really exist anymore. So basically, now I want to create an account, just to show the steps. The name is tutor, right? The domain is the subdomain. I am now, if you're using your account, your main domain, you can click the main domain. But me, I want to use this on a subdomain because the main domains are already active. So this is subdomain. Password, I would use tutor at 2024. Yes, tutor at 2024. Then the direction of the project, it's something that we have to be skeptical and careful about. So now this project, where this FTP account is going to be deploying to, is not directly to my public HTML. Because of course we don't want, when people visit a public HTML, your site, basically what they have access to is a public HTML, they can easily access your code from there. That's why we all normally have a subdirectory, which I call repositories, which is then where I deploy it to. So if I should show you my folder structure here, this is my base folder, right? Then in it, I have repositories, then I have my public HTML. The public HTML is here, which serves basically my public files. Then under repositories, you can see under repositories here, I have these two projects there already. So I want to create a new one. So the deployments will be happening to here. So basically what I will do here is, instead of having this directory, I will say repositories, right? Because folder is this, that's why it's suggesting this. And I'll say repository slash tutor. Now this is the folder it will be going to deploy to. So, and that's all. Basically, the public content of this folder will still be pushed back to a folder on the public HTML, which was we'll do later. I will show that to you. So basically, when I create the FTP account, it says created. You can see it here. This you can see the folder it pushes to, repositories to top. My main deployment pushes to other repositories again, things by today, just to show you how similar they are. So to see more details about it, you can click on configure and click on configure. So yeah, these are the details. So that's it for creating an FTP account. You're done with that. The next step says add your FTP account credentials to your Github repository secrets. So basically on my Github here, what it just simply means that go to settings, directly, then go to secrets and variables, actions. So basically what we have to do is add secrets. So new repository secrets. So basically the secrets are going to be adding here are the secrets that we have on our YML file here. Server, username and password, because that's what this file will pick when it wants to deploy. So basically on the secrets, I will just come here, create a new one with a name of server. Then the server, the value basically is this server we are seeing on this our FTP account. Then I will just come here. This is the server. I add secrets. Then I create a new secret again because I have to create server username and password, right? So I will create username. Then the username again, I'll just go back to my FTP account, copy the username from here. And paste it. Then I'll create the last one, which is password. And if I remember correctly, my password I used was tutor at 2024. So I'll create a new this and I say password. Then password I used was this as 2024. And I add secrets. And basically that's it for adding secrets. We are done with that. Then I'll go back to my repo. And the next step says commit and push my code to Github. So this is quite straightforward. Basically, Github, create a new repository, you get these commands where you can easily see what you have to, the commands you have to run to push your code. To start up, I would just come to my terminal here. Open a new terminal. Just so it's clear enough, I would increase it. So basically, on Github, the first step to run is basically Git init, right? To initialize your Git. So, oh, sorry. So basically, it's terminal Git init. Then basically on the Github command, you see git add readme. But since you're not adding one particular file, we're adding the entire project, right? So we have to do a git add all, which is git add dot, right? These are basic GitHub commands, git add all. Then also, because on the YML file, we have to, you say the branch we should be using is main. So we have to make sure our default branch here is main, which happens when we run this command that GitHub. Okay, firstly, you have to commit. Firstly, you have to commit here. So first commit. Then, of course, like I said, because you are using the main branch, you have to run this command. So basically, GitHub has the command for you. You just have to go do a sort of copy, paste, and run. Then after that, you have to just link it to the remote repository, which basically GitHub also has a command for that again, which is this command. And to go back there, just put and run. Then the last is to push to your main branch, which is something GitHub has for us again. Just copy from here and then push to your main branch. And that's it. So one funny thing is going to happen here is as long as this push is successful, once you push this, it's the deployment that is triggered, right? So like as it has pushed now, if we go to our GitHub repository here and we refresh, right, we'll see our code on the repository and we'll see a deployment happening. Yeah, so this deployment is deploying to your cPanel basically. So let's see the state of the deployment. Let's see what's happening. So basically it's still deploying. I like to view details just to see the magic happening. Yeah, so syncing file, and now the job is complete. The deployment is complete. So if you go back to your repo here, you will see a certain check mark, which you can see here. Here up here, check mark. But if you reload the repo itself, you'll see the check mark more clearly to indicate that the deployment was successful. So yeah, so basically, as you can see here, it says deployment successful. We go to our file manager here. If you remember, we said under repositories, you push to a folder called tutor, right? So this tutor folder is created by default. If you open it, you'll see the push we just made right now. And time is as can see 10:27. The push we just made was deployed to our cPanel, and that is quite good. With that, we'll come to the end of this video basically, right? We have our local environment, we have our cPanel, we have our code pushing directly to cPanel via GitHub, and that's the aim of the video. So the rest of the steps I'll be taking in the video will be just having my project to run correctly on my cPanel that's running correctly on my live environment. So if you're interested in seeing how I go about that or how I achieve that, then you can stick with the video. Else, I'd like to see you in the next video. All right, let's jump back to it. So now our CI/CD basically is set up. You just have to do the project that we have here now run well, which is what we are going to do best. Then the next steps is create your database and your hosting, right? So basically on this project, I don't really have a database. It's just a pure startup web project. I'm not adding anything or need anything. So basically I'll just edit this env here. I'll edit it on my cPanel here because I want to update the variables on my database. So I have it there, but I'll go back to my cPanel and search for manage my database basically. So on manage my database, that's where you can create a database for your projects. So I want to create a new database. The name of the database, I would call it tutor. Database, right? So create database. Then now we need a user to manage this database, right? So I will just create a user. I don't have to. Okay. So basically, I want to create a user that I will call tutor again. Password will be the same password we use there. It's not necessary. It mustn't be. I'm just using it so I don't have to start thinking of new passwords every time. So tutor at 2024. Basically, that's it. I've created a new user. So now once I've created a new user, I just have now to link what I call it is link a database, right? Which is add user to database on this section. So what user is tutor, the database I want is tutor, simple. Then I add.
basically with this, we have our database set, and we have to now identify use all privileges from the user. You can decide that this user should not be able to do all things, then you have to select the ones he needs to do, but not using all. So now basically the database and its users are created, and the privileges are also given as well. So now if you come here, I have three databases. This is the user. This I theoretical records and manages for these two databases, but this other database is managed by this nigga. This is this tutor, right? So to move on, I will have to now update my env file, but to just ensure that we have our database set, go back to your cpanel, click on PHP admin to load it up, and basically you can then see your database. Yes, so if you load up, you just see now this particular user has three database basically. So this is the first database, second database, and this is the one I just created. It's an empty database for now. So basically, I'm trying to say, I have to now update my env files. So this env file is, I like to just update it, call it tutor. Then the rest of it I can leave it, just update the database requirements, which I would do. Basically, to update your env file, just go back to your managing my databases. Then you see the details here. Basically, this is the database, this is the user, and the password is the password created. So I'll just pick this, just copy this and go to my env file. Database name is this, clear. Then of course the username is tips by tutor, so just copy it in. Come here, username is this. Okay, so and of course the password is we've been using tutor 2024. Remember I said this password mustn't be what you used on your FTP user. It's just, you understand what I would use here. Okay, so that's it. I will just save my env file. So now, if you remember correctly, at the beginning, I wanted to remove a particular command from this one, which is this command that says replace env. But remove it now because I don't want that env file I just updated to be updated every time I make a push. So I will just remove this command. I think that makes sense to me. So yes, so I save. Then I don't have anything basically on my project, so there's nothing to actually, my migrations are just the follow on. So I think I should just migrate that, then maybe later change them. So basically, I just did this, and that's it. My env is updated, my database is well pointed to, and everything is supposed to work well with my database right now. Now, if you have like a local SQL file, basically do your normal imports here, import your local SQL file here, and your database is up and running. If you cannot, you can open Terminal, which Terminal is very accessible here. If you cannot see Terminal on your cPanel, contact your hosting people to give you access to Terminal, but you need to know what you are doing so you don't have to mess up your code, because I've seen people spoil their entire hosting because they're giving access to Terminal. But this I use the Terminal. If I want to run it, I will just come here, cd into, these are normal bash commands, cd repository / tutor, and I'm into the folder. I just run a PHP exercise migrate, and that is it. So you may need to do some composer install, composer updates here, which are very necessary. So to just do that, which I actually think has been done, if I think correctly, because the YMF file itself has commands to do that. Then of course, the next thing you have to do now is remember, for a project to be running on your cPanel, it has to be loaded from public HTML, right? So now, when we created the subdomain, when I created that subdomain,
which in your case will be your main domain. Your main domain will be pointing from public HTML here. When I created the subdomain, I told it to come in here and look for a folder called tutor. That's basically what I said to it. So just to point it out clearly for us, I will go back to where I get to my domains. So under your cPanel, of course, you'll see your domains. So if you scroll down a bit, you see domains, right? Just so that it's clear for us. When I created the domain, this is it. This is a subdomain tutor.this. Where does it point to? Public HTML tutor. So basically what this means is I have to come here, right? Create a folder here. Do you understand? Under this HTML, public HTML, I have to create a new folder. So, or I can copy a folder into it, right? Yeah, so that's it. So basically, when I go to under public HTML, I just create a folder called tutor, which is the public file where my content will be fetched from. Basically, a simple thing to do, just copy the details here and adjust appropriately because they are both Laravel projects. But the best way to go about it is basically go to your repository, go to your tutor, right? Then you have your public. Okay, I do not actually copy the public folder here. So what I would do is, okay, so if I'm inside this, I'll just have to do a bit of, now the public folder did not come here because of course on our YML file we said it should exclude public and no notice and vendor. Basically that's why the public folder did not come here. So what I would do now is do a bit of imports here. But firstly, I would have to add them to a zip file. So basically just so that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, so this is my project basically on the local. This is a project itself locally. So I'll just come here. Open my public folder, then do a bit of a Control A, add all of them to one archive so that I can basically import them once, right? So add to an archive, I'll just do a zip version of it. Just zip it here, right? Basically that's it. Then I go back to my cPanel. Under that tutor folder, I would say upload, then select file. Then select file will just go to my local environment. I just have now to where is the project? So project, then I'll go to my public, which is where I put that particular file. So this is what I want to import. I import it, then that's it. It exists now. So here, if I reload, I'll have it here. So what I'll do now is just extract it here. Extract it here. And that's it. We have our index. Now, if we visit the URL, the project will not load. Why? Because if you open your index, now you have to edit this index.php file because on your Laravel's normal setup, you can see that your public is inside the folder, right? Public is inside the folder, but now public is in another folder on our server, which is in the public HTML side. So that we have to make it link correctly, right? So if we are here, this is where our index of PHP is. If we want to make it correctly, we say go up 2 steps. Go up 2 steps, it's now be inside the. Go up 1 step, it will be inside public HTML. Go up another step, be inside. Sorry, let's do that again. So if we say go up 1 step, to be inside, it will be inside public HTML here. Go up another step to now be inside our base folder here. Then we now have to go inside repositories. Now go and find the tutor folder. Don't know if that makes sense to you, but let's do it. So basically, it says it's here now. It has gone 1, so I need to go twice. Then go inside the repositories. Then find the tutor folder that I put inside repositories tutor. Yeah, so that's it. So basically what I'll do is just copy. Now there are three places where you update this. This for this maintenance of PHP, this for this auto load, right? Then of course you do it for this bootstrap. I've done for the three of them, I believe I'm good. So we just save. Once the file is saved, you can then come here, just visit. Let's see what happens. Tutor dot tips by today .com.ng. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, this loads our Laravel project, which is basically what we have posted there. To then show you the power of CI/CD, let's do something. So on our locale here, now we have to do something, which is let's make a change. So this is the web.php returns if you welcome. So let's go to resources. Okay, resources, reviews, the welcome. Let's empty the welcome, right? Let's empty the content of the body so that we don't, let's use something else. I don't want to show that, right? I want to change the title to Twitter, just a bit of change basically. Then I'll just do a p tag, or let's just do a div, right? Inside the div, you have a p, or not a p, let's do h, let's do h1, and say welcome to Twitter. Basically, it's just making a change, just making a normal change. So now once we do this, you can then just normal push, normal git add all, which you can do from here, right? Now it will be trying to push this public does, which I don't want to push. So let me just, okay, it actually it will push it. So let me just go back to my local and delete that public.zip, which I created to update there, but I don't want it to push to my repo. So just delete it. Yeah, okay. So just to continue, I have done my git add all, git commit, then I just have to push it, which is simply a command that says git push origin main, but I want to use this git interface from VS Code. So when I click on sync changes, it pushes. Let's just wait for that to push correctly. And after that, if we go back to, if we decide to go back to when the push is complete, I will go back to our repository. We would see that the deployment is also live, right? The deployment we made is live and it is pushing or deploying to Cpanel. So let's just wait for that to be done. Yeah, so now it has pushed. So if I go back to my repository, yeah. So if this refreshes, you can see that deployment is either done or it's ongoing, which I think is understandable. Yeah, so the deployment is ongoing, but it's supposed to complete in like a few extra minutes. Oh, deployment fails. Okay, so this deployment failed. I noticed an issue. The issue is quite straightforward because I told it now to generate key, right? I said to it, generate a key on this. After, normally after it replaces the stuff, it then generates a key. But since the EMV file does not really exist, I don't need to generate this key. I don't know if you understand, because the EMV file is not being replaced right here, I don't need to generate this key. So just to save that, and I have to then run my commit again. So I can just say a commit message of updated YML file, right? Then I commit it. Then basically I now sync my changes. So like once again, once this deploys, this the deployment is triggered to my cPanel. Once the deployment is done, then my project is live, right? All right, as you can see here, the push is successful. Then we just have to confirm that the deployment is successful as well. So just to be doubly sure, let me refresh this page. Then we can see that our deployment is yes, going to successful, updated YML file. Then the last step is just to check our site now to be sure that it has our updated content, which if we check very well, we can see a welcome.to tutor here. What this shows to us is that our deployment was successful. So with this, we've been able to adequately have a CI/CD deployment link to Cpanel using Laravel. And just to reiterate, if you want to now change anything, just come to your local folder, change whatever you want to change on any part of the project, push it to your Github repository, and you have the live deployment on your server.
Well, with that, we'll come to the end of this video. We'll have our projects running correctly on our local, being pushed to Github, deploying directly to Cpanel, running correctly on the live as well. And that is basically the aim of this video. And I thank you for staying to the end. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel so that we can grow. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.